Hello, everybody. We're going to talk about a brand new data slate and Warhammer rules that got dropped today. Everyone say hi to YouTube. Say hello to YouTube. We are filming this on my 29-hour-long birthday stream, so it's been quite the day. I was a part of the Warhammer podcast recently on the data slate, last data slate / new points, and it was terrible, absolutely terrible. All of what they did was bad. And by what they did, I mean they did nothing. Either due to fate or genuinely waiting to make big changes until this data slate, we have too many things to talk about. This is the biggest sweeping amount of changes in 10th edition so far. I would also argue that this is the most they have ever changed the rules post-drop since in the last 3 editions. It is genuinely wild what they've done right now for all this kinds of stuff. We could say we are in 10.5 edition right now. This feels like what 10th edition should have dropped with. And the changes here are genuinely sweeping. The actual balanced data slate has sweeping changes as well. This is the core rules. So not only are we getting major changes to the data slate, we're also getting major core rule changes and points. So let's talk about it. First things first, redeployments. Redeployments now have a crucial step of the game. All redeployments, no matter what they say in their rules, happen after you're done deploying, but before the first turn. So even if you have an ability on your data sheet that says after the first turn, doesn't count. Every single redeploy happens before the first turn, but after deployment. So it's now literally a step. You know, finish deploying, do redeploys if they are required, determine first turn, move scout moves. So now there's a spot for it. There's some quick unit coherency stuff involving deep strike that doesn't really matter. This is mostly just this is the kind of stuff that, like, unless you were gaming the system, is normal and you know about. Out of phase rules. This one is actually really handy. Chat, hands up if we've ever had a Land Raider Redeemer peg you in the middle of the night. Anyone? 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 I have. I have, and it is the worst thing I've ever experienced. The Land Raider Redeemer was one of the most disgusting Overwatch platforms on the planet. I will pull it up in Wahapedia right now because I can. What the Land Raider Redeemer tended to do was carry, you know, a good deal of units and that kind of fun stuff. And it has 2 flamers. It has 2 flamers on the side of the Land Raider Redeemer. These flamers fire D6 plus 3 shots at strength 6, AP 2, 2 damage, ignores cover and torrent. It has 2 of them. So when it overwatched you with 2d6 plus 6 shots at 622, it was really, really mean. So because of that, there were also an annoying situation where, because the Land Raider Redeemer, it has big guns never tire, aka you can shoot into combat with vehicles, you could then have an enemy charge your Land Raider, and then when they were already in combat, overwatch them, because it's the end of the charge move, into their face. It was the worst thing ever experienced. This stops that. Fire Overwatch Stratagem enables a unit to shoot in your opponent's turn as if it were your shooting phase. When using out of phase rules to perform any action as if it were one of your phases, it cannot use any of the rules that are normally triggered in that phase. The main point of this is like, hey, you cannot fire into combat with big guns never tire for that. That's the general concept. Because big guns never tire allow for it in the shooting phase. So you can't do that anymore. You can't use Overwatch to fire while in combat with something kind of thing in the charge phase, that kind of jazz. It just stops that very annoying bit. Persisting effects, this is just like, it's fine. It's just some clarification on this one. Yeah, you can still do Nasty Flame or Overwatch, just not in the, what is it? Not like using big guns never tire. What else? CP. This is just making sure that it's more obvious you can only ever get 3 CP per battle round total. So 1 for command phase, 1 for command phase, 1 for like an extra one you can somehow get, you know? Gain a total of 1 CP per battle round regardless of the source. This includes other CP gained at the start of the command phase, you know? So it just clarifies CP gem. Battle shock, this is another clarification. If you have one of those abilities that's like, if you're below starting strength, take a battle shock test. But if you're also below half strength, you don't have to take 1 for being below starting and 1 for being below half. It's just 1 test. That most things already had that stipulation, but this is just explaining it a bit better. Moving units, so moving like through models and friendly models, etc. This is huge. Any Toxicrene fans in the chat? Any Toxicrene lovers who love the model but hate its gigantic fucking tentacles? Well, basically what happens here is if you have a model that overhangs on terrain, the overhang does not count. It only counts the base. So if you've ever had struggles where you can't move a model with overhanging stuff through terrain, that's no longer the case. If the base can move it through, you can move it through. So like Be'lakor, Big Demons, the Toxicrene especially, lots of stuff like that. Super needed change. So long as there's enough space for the base to fit in general, that is absolutely fantastic. So it's a huge help with that kind of stuff. Defiler OP now? I wouldn't say that. The Defiler does not have a base. That's the problem. Defiler doesn't have a base, I don't believe. It just has its big legs. But Defiler already says it can move through things over 4 inches anyway, so I don't think it matters. It's a great clarification. It's very helpful. It'll make a lot of units feel a lot better, so that's good. Okay, pivots. This is fascinating and is a lot to explain, but it's incredible and a huge, lovely addition. Basically what happens is you've got your model, right? With a center axis, like this rhino here, because it doesn't have a base. What happens is if you want to adjust it, you have a 2-inch pivot value. So you can move it, and then you can pivot it, and it basically costs 2 inches. But after you do it, you can spin it as much as you want. So let's say you have a 12-inch move, and you need to pivot your rhino. In a sense, you basically get a 10-inch move, but you can start Tokyo drifting wherever you want. It's a very handy adjustment. I'm simplifying it a little bit, but for example, moving with multiple pivots. The same vehicle moves more than once during its move, but the total distance it can move is only reduced by its pivot value of 2 inches. It moves 5, pivots, which costs it 2, moves another 5, and then it can pivot as much as it wants because you've already spent your 2. You basically just have to spend 2 inches of your movement and you get to pivot however you want. It is a huge, huge quality of life for a ton of models. However, there's an important caveat here. If your model has a round base, you can pivot as much as you want. Doesn't matter. So models like this, you can pivot as much as you'd like. This does create some issues. What about ovals? Ovals don't count. Only circles. Now, there are, this will create certain problems, particularly a Drukhari Raider has a circular base beneath it. So that's kind of weird. And there might be some weird wackiness with that. But for the most part, it's just, if you're a circle, you can spin as much as you'd like. Yeah, there's a couple things like the Doomsday arcs. That's a little weird. There's a couple weirdness to it. Pivot moves now are changed in that way. So like, hey, here's the overhanging model thing, but it's like, hey, 6-inch move, pivot, 4-inch move. It's and then like it has like a, oh yeah, so Bloodthirster is declared a charge targeting the Terminator Squad. Its charge roll is 12 inches. The gap in the ruins is wide enough for the model's base, so it moves through the gap despite its wings. Moves 6 inches, pivots of 2, and then completes its 4-inch charge move, which is a 12. So bop, bop. Bricky, do all models have a 2-inch pivot cost, or is it on a per model basis? It's non-round models. Non-round base models. Though I believe it's a maximum of 2-inch pivot. So like if you only move like a teensy adjustment and then you move, it's like fine. But I might be wrong on that one. Don't quote me on that one. But basically it's just like if you're a circle, you're fine. But if you're not a circle, then it's a little bit weird. Firing deck, simple stuff. Units who have not shot already. This is the impulsor combo. What would happen is eliminators would fire, move into the impulsor, and then because the impulsor now has firing deck, you could fire out of the impulsor with extra guns. It stops that basically. Shooting phase, you have to be within range to shoot. Just some small stuff for like dark packs and things. Like you can't dark pact if you can't shoot something. Mortal wounds. This is huge. Dev wounds are mortal wounds again. But they're mortal wounds that don't spill. If you have an ability that gives you a feel no pain against mortal wounds, dev wounds will allow you to save them, but it will not spill over. So if you take 3 dev mortal wounds, it'll hit that one thing and go from there. So basically, long story short, if you have an ability that's like 5 up, feel no pain against mortal wounds, it'll help you against dev. Yay. But it still won't spill. It's a nice mixture. It's a nice in-between. I think it's very helpful. It'll help out a lot. You won't get that situation where a Forge Fiend will do 12 mortal wounds and then kill an entire squad because of its dev. But you can get a savior if you're running like not Shield Host. What's the Custodes one? Where if you're like near the Sisters of Silence. Yeah, Watchers in the Dark, chat. Watchers in the Dark for your Dark Angels are now also a 4-up feel no pain against dev. Might be worth popping if like a Forge Fiend fires at you. I don't know. So, it's way better now. Long story short. It's way better now. Also, another important note, hazardous wounds will do 3 mortal wounds to whatever blows up, but also doesn't spill. So if you have, let's say, a 4 wound model with a hazardous weapon, instead of just killing the infantry unit outright, it just does 3 mortals, which means you might save some for like, like what if you have a feel no pain against mortal wounds and you start blasting your plasmas, for example? You might actually be able to save your character from death thanks to the mortal wound thing. There's some options. It also makes the lion a lot better because of that also. So there's some cool stuff. Yeah. This one is fascinating. Indirect weapons. A hit of a 1 through 3 always fails. Not just that, you still take a -1 to hit and you still give the enemy cover. So it just flat out throttles it at a 4 or higher. Now, remember, chat, it's not you are become ballistic skill 4. It is 1 through 4. So, or 1 through 3. So even if you are hitting on 3s with +1 to hit and -1 to hit, so it should be 3s, it's only 4 and up. Only 4 and up. I was about to say, people are going to be like, get shit on guard. But guard, like, we often hit on 4s anyway, so it's like, whatever. But yeah, it's simply, it's just simply 1 through 4. Or 1 through 3. And honestly, I'm okay with that. Also, guard got some changes. So, like, honestly, I'm okay with this. This is a fine way to throttle it, because you'll notice in the changes, a lot of artillery got buffed because of this. Like points drops. The artillery got some points drops. Here's hazardous. This is what I was mentioning before. Hazardous now does 3 mortal wounds instead of just killing your infantry model outright, so you can possibly save it. Also, it won't kill like a 4 to 5 wound infantry model as quick as possible. That kind of stuff. Lovely. Love to see it. Very, very handy. Also, just some like allocation stuff that we were already doing, but people were gamifying a little bit. Extra attacks. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this makes it so that if you get +1 to like your attack characteristic, it now also works on extra attacks. Yeah, hazardous can also be mitigated with a feel no pain now. That's also important. I believe that's what this means for extra attacks, which is rather fascinating. But that's cool, you know. Here's the dev wound thing I was talking about earlier. It says right there the ability doesn't work to increase the attacks of extra attacks ability, but doesn't it say one or more extra attack fights? It makes attacks with each of the extra attacks melee weapons is equipped with, and it makes attacks with one of the melee weapons is equipped with. Does not have extra attacks. Cannot be modified by other rules unless the weapon's name. Oh, yes, you're right. Never mind, I'm wrong. Unless the weapon's name is explicitly specified. Right, unless it explicitly specifies the name in the ruling. So it's just to also double check, like if it says add 1 to this unit's horse hooves attacks, then like that will be specific. Right, and also if you've got, yeah, it clarifies that if you have multiple extra attacks, you can use them all. Some people had like 2 separate extra attacks, and there was some weird finagling where it's like, oh, you can only attack with 1 extra attack weapon when you obviously are supposed to be able to use all of them. So it's 1 normal and the rest of your extra attacks. It's just clarification for the most part for us normal people. This is a nice little profile modifier. This is just helpful. It's basically saying, hey, you cannot have a move inches of less than 1. You cannot have a toughness of less than 1. You cannot have a save that is 1+ or better. This is actually fascinating right here. You cannot have a leadership that is 4 or better or 9 or worse. That was actually a bit fascinating. I didn't think they would do something like that. So you basically Battle Shock, as far as I'm concerned, will always fail on a 1 through 4 and always succeed on an 8 and higher. OC can't be less than 0. There's also that. Ranged weapons can never have an attack less than 1. You know, attacks can never be less than 1. Modifiers, weapon skill cannot be a 1+ or better, but you know, the usual. It's just explanations. This is all just putting it in writing. I mean, was there a way to get better leadership than that? I mean, like Gilliman with a +1 would have like a 4-up, you know? Let's see here. What do we got? Deep Strike, that's just clarification. Leader units. This is basically saying, hey, if you have Celestine with her 2 girls, because Celestine is the only character, you can put damage on her 2 girls first, and that's fine. So you can kill off the 2 girls, and then kill off like the Seraphim squad, and then Celestine. That's something that you are allowed to do. Like the Victrix Honor Guard with Marnius Calgar, same deal. This is actually insane for Celestine, because if you put Celestine with a bunch of Zephyrim, you can give them the new Armor of Contempt stratagem in one of the sisters detachments, and then if they're in cover, you've got Gemini with a 2-up in cover with Armor of Contempt, 2 of them. It's going to make him impossible to kill. And then Celestine revives them. It's going to be crazy. Grimaldus, that too. Grimaldus' little folks, also true. Couple other things. Command reroll basically lets you know that, like, hey, you can do it with fast rolls. None of you normal people will care about this change. This is like if you're being a shitter at a tournament type thing. It just means like fast rolls are chill and that kind of thing. So we're all fine with that. Bravery is the same. Grenade cannot be used if you advanced or fell back or have already shot. So it just means you can, you know, be a bit more, you gotta like throw grenades like a normal shooting thing. And you know, even if you have assault, you can't do it. So there's that. Tank Shock got a nerf. Tank Shock is now your toughness. It is your flat toughness. Now chat, some of you are gonna be upset by this. I say cope and seethe, because for the most part, the fact that you are able to, for 1 CP, be like, here's 6 mortal wounds guaranteed, is a little dumb. Some people are going to be mad about this. I'm a little bit mad because my Penitent engines loved this. Farsight players love this. But like also Canis Rex and like Mauler Fiends and things like that shouldn't have done it. So it is flat out just D6 equal to your toughness characteristic. Isn't that better for most tanks? Yes. So this makes a lot of your tanks better. Your Bane Blades, your Rogel Dorns, etc. But it makes your dedicated melee guys not as good. Listen, chat. I get it. But 1 CP for like almost guaranteed 6 mortal wounds was pretty dumb. Rapid Ingress just got some adjustments there. Fire Overwatch, exact same thing. Heroic Intervention, it went down to 1 CP. Love it. It needed it. It very much needed it. Heroic Intervention is a good stratagem that will help you against melee armies a lot. And also it's good for melee armies. It's good for both. But it was too expensive. So 1 CP it is. Couple other things. Belisarius Call, Gilliman, and the Lion can now Kool-Aid Man through walls. They couldn't before because I think they were monsters technically because they were so big. So they can just like, woo! Blow through walls. Love that. Oh yeah! Models that are within this terrain feature can be seen normally, and towering models that are within this terrain feature can also see out of it normally. So this is just some ruin stuff for the this is the towering. We talked about this before. Warlords stuff here, and then a bunch of FAQs. Bricky, look at Murder Fang's data sheet when you get the core rule changes about fight again abilities being allowed to be used unlimited times. Oh, we already knew that. They just clarified it. Okay, well though I'll show it because it's funny. So here's something kind of hilarious. Where's Murder Fang? Is he a character? Yeah, he is. All right, so chat. Murder Fang has an ability. Each time an enemy unit targets this model, after it's finished, you may shoot or fight as if it was your shooting or fight phase. So, Murder Fang runs in. He charges. He hits something and he goes, he doesn't kill it. Your opponent punches back. Because they punched back, Murder Fang can then go, let's say because of the punchback, he kills it. Awesome. You consolidate Murder Fang into another enemy unit. Legally, the other enemy unit has to then punch Murder Fang, which will then let him go. Murder Fang can, theoretically, fight 3 times in one fight phase from charging. It's very funny. Actually, technically he can fight like 1,000,000 times in a way. Let's say you decide to multi-charge Murder Fang into 3 like smaller units. Well, you go all 3. Let's say they're not very good at melee. You attack one, it attacks you back. You attack it, the other one attacks you. You attack it, the other one attacks you. You attack it. It's like a Balatro episode. Do you want to know who else does this? The Death Company Dreadnought for Blood Angels. And the Hellbrute for World Eaters. Stonks. Technically, nothing here has changed. It always could do this, but it's been clarified. Anyway, as I was saying, core rule, the biggest important things for core rule changes. Redeployment specific things. No more shooting into my fucking face with the Land Raider Redeemer. Doesn't really matter though. The big ones though, overhanging is chill now. Love it. Pivot moves. Absolutely insane change here. Adore it. So good, this pivot rule. It's so much easier to handle now. And then also, I would say the dev wound change is huge. Massive dev wound change and hazardous change. It's in a sense, it's a nerf to dev wounds across the board, but like in an okay way. Very, very handy. Oh, indirect. Huge change to indirect. Very good. Huge changes here. Tank shock change, I think it's good. It's like a side grade depending on what's shocking you. Hero Convention going down to CP is also amazing. Just genuinely fantastic stuff. Indirect only screwed the Exorcist. Well, it screwed 3 up ballistic skill things as well, but I'm okay with that. That's fine. Indirect is bad for the game. Simply put. I'm okay with indirect being in the game because guard need to exist, but it has to be properly balanced and somewhat interactive. Using it as more of a support system is great, and I think doing this is a great way to stop people from murdering the entire game with nothing but artillery, and I'm okay with that. So, that right here is the core rule changes. Big stuff, right? Big stuff. Now, balanced data slate. If you thought we were even close to being done, we're not even close to being done. Check this out. I missed the other big one. What's the other big one I missed? I think I got most of the core rules already. Dev change, pivot move, overhanging. I don't know. Inform me and we'll get to it. Okay, chat. Modifying a stratagem CP cost. Any replaced unit stress can only be used once per game. Oh, I did miss that one. Yes. If you have a stratagem that allows you to bring in a brand new unit, you can use it once per game. AKA the thing that gives you a brand new unit for Endless Swarm in Tyranids, Guards Reinforcement stratagem, all of that's only once per game. I think that's fine. I think it's healthy. It kind of screws over a couple things, but I think it's actually healthy for the game. It does not affect Gene Stealer cults, by the way. Don't worry about that. The one where you can like come back from blips. Once per game, that's strat. Not per unit. Once per game, that's strat. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Most of them are 2 CP anyway, so. This is wild, chat. Modifying a stratagem CP cost. Rules that enable you to target a unit from your army with a stratagem for 0 CP. Change it to reduce the CP cost of the stratagem by 1 CP. There's something missing here, chat. There is no battle tactics stipulation anymore. Battle tactics only, dead. Entirely dead. It works for every strat. Now, couple stipulations here. 1, you reduce the stratagem cost by 1. So it can go to 0 for some, but if it's a 2 CP strat, it costs 1 CP now instead. 2, it says if you are doing stratagems that can be used more than once per phase per turn or whatever, that only works if it's specifically called out. So back in the day, Necrons. Let's say you're Necrons, right? And you were like, here's my Overlord and my Lichguard brick and my other Lichguard brick. I'm going to use my revive on this Lichguard brick now for 1 CP, and then use the free stratagem on this Lichguard brick for 1 CP. You don't get that. So they made it so it's -1 CP strat on any CP, but you don't get to double up. No more doubling. Unless it specifically states it. Like Fire Overwatch. Or, for example, the Death Guard have the Biologus Putrefier, I think that's what it is, that specifically say grenade stratagem. So basically you can't AOC twice. Correct. You cannot AOC twice. Yeah, here we go. In your shooting phase, you can select 1 model from your army with this ability as a target of the grenade stratagem, even if you have already done so. That means you can grenade twice. Lovely. This is an exception. However, if you were, say, popping Armor of Contempt with your -1 CP strat, you can't do it twice. Also, lastly, something a little bit more weird. Lord of Deceit. Each time your opponent targets a unit with the stratagem, if they are within 12 inches of this model, increase it by 1 CP. The Vect is dead. My opponent used a stratagem and I'm adding it up 1 CP, gone. Instead, it's within 12. If you're within 12 inches of the opponent and they use a stratagem on that unit, it goes up by 1. Now you might think, Bricky, that sucks. That's nowhere near as good for like Bjorn and everyone. But think about it. This is +1 CP within 12 inches for everything. Let's say Bjorn or like the Swarm Lord or Bjorn is in your fucking face. That's a 24-inch bubble. 12 inches on both sides. That's just like, if you target any of these guys with a stratagem, it's +1 cost. Eat your heart out. Like, that's painful. Plus, you can't do it for free because it's now minus a CP with the free stratagem thing. It doesn't work if the stratagem targets something from your army, though. It says each time your opponent targets a unit from their army with a stratagem if they are within 12 inches. I mean, let's say reinforcement. What if my Swarm Lord kills your squad of guardsmen and you want to use reinforcements on them? Well, you target the unit that just was destroyed. So it's 3 CP. It's only for enemy models though, so they target my Bjorn, it's normal cost. Sure. Like if your stratagem specifically states pick an enemy unit, then it won't count. They are off the board, they aren't in the bubble. No, they're not off the board. Here, hold up. Limit. So this is one of those times where you're gonna have to read the stratagem a bit more specifically, but check it. Reinforcements. 1 regiment unit from your army that was just destroyed. I believe it is there. It is currently there. I'm pretty positive it is that unit, because that unit that was just destroyed is within 12 inches. I would imagine that's what it's supposed to be like, you know? If it's not like that, that's kind of dumb. It's still on the board, I would imagine. We might need to get a little bit of semantical arguments here. The point being is that it's still something pretty neato, and it could be pretty handy. Does the character's embedded unit increase the vect bubble? No, because it says if that unit is within 12 inches of this model, not unit. Moving on, though, stratagems prevent units from being targeted. If you have a stratagem that's like a 12-inch no target me, it's 18 inches now. Eat shit, Grey Knights. Basically, it's 18 instead of 12. You're getting the Nurgle Land Raider treatment that happened to CSM. Very simple. Granted, something to note here, it says if a stratagem has an effect that targets the unit, it says stratagem, not like all of these types of abilities. Can I share something that I find really funny, chat? This is not a very good ability, and this is probably not worth your points costs, but I find it very funny. Did you know that an infiltrator squad has an ability where you can't deep strike outside 12 inches of the unit? Cannot set up in reserves outside of 12 from the unit. You know, pretty classic stuff. Did you know that a librarian in Phobos armor has an ability where you cannot shoot me unless you're within 12 inches of the unit, and you can put it with your infiltrators? So there's a no, this is not screw over Phobos librarian. Stratagems that prevent units from being targeted, not abilities, stratagems. So have you ever thought how funny it might be to have your backline with 5 infiltrators and a librarian springed across your entire backline 2 inches from each other, making it so that you can't deep strike within 12, and because you can't deep strike within 12, you can't shoot them within 12 either, so you can't deep strike and shoot at all? It's really funny. The problem is that it's 170 points for a backfield holder, and that's like really expensive. Oh wait, stratagems that add new units to your army. Oh, damn you, viewer! You said I missed the major core rule change, but this isn't a major core rule change, it's a data slate change. I knew I didn't miss it, you bastard! Faction rule changes. Sisters get nothing because they have a new codex, it's fine. Custodies. So, chat, basically, remember Shield Host? It did this thing that was like, hey, pick, or you get like WA. And during WA, you either get 5-up crits or +1 AP in melee. Or you get both. Sorry, you get both. Now, at the start of the battle round, you get to pick one or the other, and you just get to flip-flop. So instead of a once per game ability, you can pick with both. You can pick one or the other and just kind of bounce back and forth. Also, in the Orc Champions, it says each time a model in a Adeptus Custodes character unit, which is your detachment rule. It's sad that it doesn't affect the actual stratagems, but that's okay. What is this? Are we still arguing about the remove from play thing? You can't target a unit that doesn't exist off the board with a stratagem. So I would believe you would very much have to, it's still technically on the board. It is a unit within the 12. I'm pretty damn positive it counts. We'll get an FAQ well, we probably won't get an FAQ, but I'm pretty positive. I guess rapid ingress, that might be a possibility. But regardless, I think you're wrong. So, you know, I'm right. It's my birthday, so I get to say I'm right. But as far as I'm concerned, it still would give it a +1 CP cost. Honestly, Custodes, this is nice. Like, this helps them, don't get me wrong. I think, honestly, the biggest change here that helps them the most is the stratagem change. The fact that some detachments just didn't have battle tactics, it was insane for them. And the fact that they can actually use them, especially because custodians like their shield captains. So dev wounds, kinda. Custodians don't have their blanket feel no pain against mortals. It'll be better for Talons of the Emperor, which gets you a 5-up feel no pain against mortals when you're next to the Sisters of Silence. Oh, what's this? The within 12 inches reinforcement thing is already in the FAQ under destroyed units. The brick is right. It's a random chatter, so I'm just going to assume I'm right. Let's go. I think the new stratagem change will be a big help to custodians. The dev wound change, maybe. I think there's some strats that give you like a feel no pain against mortals, but we'll see. I think that's about it for custodian besides points and stuff. AdMech. Holy shit. So they promised big AdMech changes and they did not lie. Protector imperative. You literally get your 3-up ballistic skill back. You also get a -1 to be hit if you're getting hit in melee, which like, oh my God. If you're in the Conquer imperative, your weapon skill goes up by 1 and you get +1 AP when you melee people. If you're battle line and also within 6 inches of the battle line. Well, chat, here's the interesting thing. For a long time, I've been like, 4-up ballistic skill armies should exist in the game and arguably should exist more often. Voton being 4-up ballistic skill is totally chill. Gene Stealer Cults up there as well. I was fine with AdMech being a 4-up ballistic skill army so long as they had the right guns for it. And weapon skill army as well. It appears that GW have decided that AdMech is a 3.5 ballistic skill army. You get to pick one. Do you want 3-up ballistic skill, 4-up weapon skill, or 4-up ballistic skill, 3-up weapon skill? And you know what? I'm okay with that. Ranger gun lines are 2-up ballistic skill now if not moved. Let's be honest with ourselves right now. You're moving. Heavy is a lying. It's a liar's gambit. You're always moving. Maybe you'll get it on like 2 things. Heavy doesn't matter. It's like the least important special rule. Take it from a guard player. Unless you're artillery, you're always moving. Couple other changes here. They added the Doctrina imperatives to a bunch of... Chat, is this all of them? Like, is this everyone that didn't have it originally? All but the Castellan robots? They should have just given it to them. I don't know why they didn't. Your army rule should work on the entire goddamn army. Whatever. Belisarius moves faster now. It's great. He also has a battle line, responds to the battle line keyword and has the follow. Oh my God, Belisarius calls the battle line keyword. That's hilarious because it means he gives the buffs out now. Holy crap, the amount of changes to your weaponry, chat. Your Bellistar or your Bellistarii Cognis autocannons, you get sustain hits 1. Oh, so you lost twin linked and you gained extra shots, which will always be better than twin linked. In case you ever know about math, chat, full rerolls to wound is awesome, but an extra shot will always statistically be better because you can roll it better and you might hit it, you know? So instead of going 2 shots with twin linked, you got 4 shots with sustained and 2 shots with a sustained instead of 1 shot, which is just flat out better. Scorpius Disintegrator got a better version of its Fulmerite cannon. Do you guys know what the damage was on this thing beforehand? It was just D6 flat. Oh, that's good. That's handy. Sakaran Infiltrators got more attacks. Love that to death. Rust Stalkers got more attacks and better strength. Also love that to death. Same with the Cord Claw. The Dune Crawler got more shots with his neutron laser. Got more damage with his neutron laser. Its Heavy Phosphor Blaster got 12 shots, which is actually kind of disgusting because it ignores cover and twin linked, which I love. And its Eradication Beamer also got better. I'm not gonna lie, chat, the Eradication Beamer on the Dune Crawler is kind of nutty. 2 D3 shots with blast, with sustained D3 on a now most likely ballistic skill 3-up 933 shot. That's something. Honestly, Doomcrawler might be my favorite AdMech model, so I'm pretty happy about this. It was a D6 before, even better. What else do we got here? So that's AdMech. AdMech, you're eating great. You got some points nerfs to make up for it, in fairness, but you're eating great. Are you going to be good? I have no idea. But I would be shocked if you're not at least better. So, moving on. Eldar, I think they're the exact same. I don't think Eldar has changed. I believe that they are... These are all the old changes that they gave them. Same with the Agents of the Imperium. So they reworked Guard's army rule. It's very interesting now, and I actually think it might be... It might make... Okay, so Guard players right now are kind of on suicide watch because of the reinforcements change, among a few other things. I think they're misguided because this rule seems disgusting. Basically, Born soldiers. If you are an infantry unit, aka a regiment unit, and you make an attack that hits non-monsters and vehicles, you get lethal hits. If you're a squadron unit and you attack monsters or vehicles, you get lethal hits. So basically, if your infantry are shooting at enemy infantry, you get army-wide lethal hits. If your vehicles are shooting at other vehicles, you get army-wide lethal hits. A lot of guard players were like, oh god, the artillery changes, the 1 through 4. Oh god, my reinforcement stratagem. Oh god, Creed feels worse. And then I saw this and I was like, nah, bro, I'm okay with this. Yeah, Sentinels have squadron and regiment, so Sentinels get lethal hits against everything. Granted, it's ranged attacks only. I think this is insane. I think this is actually insane. Because let's be perfectly honest, unless you were like a parking lot guard player, you literally didn't have a detachment rule. Now you often have a detachment rule. Tank commanders, officers, Baneblades, Valkyries have no army rules. They like the keywords. Fair point, but Valkyries weren't getting it anyway because you weren't stationary. Baneblades, I mean, I guess you could have been stationary, but you often weren't. Officers joined units, so it doesn't really matter because it's still a regiment unit because you're joining a unit, so the officers get it anyway. Tank commanders, that is kind of weird. If anything, tank commanders probably should get squadron or something like that. But then they can order themselves. That's a little bit weird. But there's also a stipulation, chat. Targets a visible unit. So artillery's pretty dead, but I'm kind of okay with that because artillery is dumb. It just means that all the artillery that we got lost lethal hits for the most part, but we also got some points drops on the artillery. I don't know. This is moving towards a more foot soldier and forward-facing tank list, and I'm kind of okay with that because it's a lot more fun. So for the most part, I actually like this a lot. It's a more combined arms, more dynamic. I'm pretty okay with it for the most part. Moving on, Black Templars. Okay, this is so good. I'm so happy about this. So chat, the Impulsor and Repulsor now lets you transport 7 and 14. This was a total oversight by Games Workshop. Basically, you can now run 6 Blade Guard and a character in your vehicle. You couldn't do that before. Now you can. Huge oversight from them to begin with, but so happy about that. So Chaos Knights. I'll just make it honest. Every single Chaos Knight army can Kool-Aid Man through walls, as Imperial Knights as well. It can also move through sections of terrain features that are more than 4 inches in height, but if it does so, after it rolls, roll a d6. On a 1, it is battle shocked. Knights just ignore terrain. All Knights just ignore terrain. Completely ignore terrain. Yeah, sorry, let me rephrase this. Big Knights ignore terrain. Let me rephrase that. Big Knights ignore terrain. Your Armigers and War Dogs do not. Big Knights ignore terrain. I mean, they're big boys, you know? Like, you just kind of like shoulder check it. I mean, you have to roll a dice and you might get battle shocked, but whatever. It's on a 1, you know? Who cares? I mean, Imperial Knights get the same thing. Wherever the hell they are. They're down here. They get the same ability. Love to see that. So it just makes, I mean, Big Knights can just blow through walls. That's awesome. CSM caught a Warp Talons nerf. Basically, you have to destroy an enemy unit to be removed. It stopped some things where like certain people got pulled and then they were no longer in engagement range and they got to yank them up from the sky again. This is fine. Warp Talons were too good. CSM got some points nerfs that I don't think they deserved. It's kind of weird. This one I'm okay with. I'm okay with the Warp Talon nerf. That's fine. But they got some points nerfs that I'm a little bit iffy on. Holy shit, demons. Are you guys ready for your demon overlords? They didn't fix the on-turn jump. Yeah, I know. They clearly don't want to fix the on-turn jump. The intention is they have to destroy the unit. All right, so demons. You know how Be'lakor had the 6-inch aura of Shadows of Chaos? Now every single one of the big boys have it. Bloodthirster, Great and Clean One, Kairos, Keeper of Secrets, etc. They all have it. Not just Be'lakor. 6 inches around any of the big boys is considered in your Shadow of Chaos. So that's pretty terrifying. Love that. The Warp Rift rule. Okay, you can do the thing where you can set up 6 inches around these units if they have the same keyword. So you know that ability where you can set up people 6 inches from Be'lakor? Well, now if you set up, you can set up Khorne units 6 inches from a Bloodthirster, or Nurgle with a Great Unclean One, or a Tzeentch with a Kairos. Wild. You want to know the funniest thing about all that? Actually, let me check here. I don't know if they made any changes to it in the actual points. Yeah, they did. Be'lakor went down, and the Bloodthirster went down. But you want to know something hilarious, chat? The Great Unclean One is 230 points, and so is Rodigus. You could run 4 Great Unclean Ones for 920 points. And now you can teleport like Nurgle units within 6 inches of them. It's pretty funny, man. So that's demons. Great demon change. It's going to make them way better. It also, in my opinion, gives you a great reason to build a mono army, because then if you run like only Bloodthirsters, Bloodthirsters can only drop other versions of those units. So pretty cool. Dark Angels. So Dark Angels, you guys got a buff, interestingly enough. I have a buddy, shout out to you, Spencer, who is a huge Dark Angels fan, and we play against his Dark Angels all the time. And for the most part, we were chatting about the things that we would make changes to the Blood Angels attachment. And these are some good ones. Basically, if you have the regular detachment rule, you can select a unit. And so this is actually kind of nasty. In your command phase, select a Astartes unit from your army. Until the start of your next command phase, add 1 to the OC. The reason that's good is because you can pick it in your command phase, which means you can flip objectives that way. So let's say you're contesting someone for an objective. It's your turn. You don't have enough OC. You point at them in your command phase and you're like, these guys now get +1 OC. I now hold the objective, I get 5 points. The fact that it's basically just a pick is actually pretty good. That'll come up. Maybe not often, but it'll come up. As for the inner circle stuff, it's a little spooky. Start of your movement phase, select one of the following. It's change it. One objective marker you control until the start of your next movement phase. That objective marker is now your vowed objective marker. Aggressive push. Select one of the objective markers you do not control until the start of your next movement phase. Each of those objective markers is one of your vowed objective markers. If a rule refers to a unit or model being within range of vowed objective marker, that rule takes effect if that unit or model is within range of one of the more vowed objective markers. Wait, hold up. Oh, one or more. Oh, it's one or more. That's pretty nasty, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, +1 to wound against like everything I don't own is actually pretty disgusting. They also gave you some buffs in other ways. The Deathwing Knights got 2 damage power weapons, which is huge. And also your maces got anti-vehicle, anti-monster, and 2 up AP, which is great. But like honestly, fuck this stuff. I don't even care. I care about these boys. Inner Circle Companions. Let's fucking go. Your sweep got better, and you got +1 AP. That's literally what you needed. That was the biggest thing holding them back, was their AP 1. Let's go. Love to see it. Absolutely pogging in my jorts right now. Pogging in my jorts. Probably worth running. Slap Asmodai in there, which is hilarious as a concept. Dark Angels are kind of cooking. This is a great detachment rule. I actually like the Grim Resolve change. Inner Circle also, this is very, very good. Deathwing Knights are very scary looking, and Inner Circle Companion's really good. The Lion right now actually kind of bangs. I don't know if he's worth taking, but the fact that he can Kool-Aid Man through walls is amazing now. And his 4-up Feel No Pain aura can use against dev wounds now. The fact that he can use it for to hold against dev wounds, the aura is really big. The aura is a huge help. Anyway, Death Guard, you know the usual. Nothing changed with Death Guard. Death Watch, you are most likely not going to be an army soon. There's a rumor that you're going to be folded into Agents of the Imperium, and I think the rumor might be correct, because they just don't seem to care about you at all. And you got barely any point changes. I have a good feeling you're going to be part of Agents of the Imperium. It's total bullshit. The F Bricky, why'd you skip Death Guard? Because nothing changed. This is the same as before. It's just a reprint. There's nothing new here. It's the same. There's a plus though. Where? Once per battle run, you target one unit with the army with this ability with the grenade stratagems. Okay, yeah, it's a grenade strat. It's clarification. We already know this. You can't have 3 purifiers spam nades in a single turn. Didn't they already stop that? I could have sworn they already stopped you from doing that, couldn't they? You can't use grenades multiple times. Oh, they removed the ability. Wait, hold up. They removed the, oh, you're right. No, you're right. They removed the, even if you've already used it stipulation. Hold on, biologist putrefier. This is the old rules. And you can do so, they've already, oh, you're right. Okay, you get 1 free grenade. Well, Death Guard weren't really doing great. I don't think you really had to do that to them, but I guess it's a little bit annoying to see someone like run up and bombard you with 1,000,000 grenades, but oh well. It is what it is. Anyway, Drukhari, no changes, same things before. Gene Stealer Cult, no changes, new codex coming out. Grey Knights. Vortex of Doom ability. In your shooting phase, like when immune with 18 inches of visible psyker, excluding units with the lone operative ability. Long story short, you're not allowed to like pick out a random lone op person that you're not with it. Basically, some of these psychic abilities, since they weren't shooting attacks, let you pick someone in their lone op world. So they turn that off, which makes total sense. What else do we got here? Let's see. Nothing else here for Grey Knights. Imperial Knights, you can Kool-Aid Man through walls. Absolutely fucking amazing. Love to see it. Voton, no changes. A little surprised by that. Thought they would get something. Necrons, quick change here. You cannot use Cosmic Precision on monster units. So it basically means no deep striking in a Catan 3 inches away from your buddy. I'm okay with that. It was kind of annoying. It was really aggravating to deal with. I'm okay with that one. Orcs. Okay, so Orcs, Green Tide got nerfed. Instead of a 5-up invul and 5-up invul rerolling 1s, you get a 6-up invul and 5-up invul of 10 above. Basically, Orc boy spam was like nigh unkillable at times. This has made them slightly more killable, which is good. Tide of Muscle. +1 to the charge roll, and if your unit contains 10 or more models, you can reroll the charge roll. Is this better or worse? Until the end of the battle, each time your unit declares a charge, add to the current battle round number to the charge roll. Oh. So it's just, so instead of the battle round number, it's just 1. But then it also gives you a reroll. Okay, so it's a side grade. Arguably maybe an upgrade. Is it worse? Well, you get a reroll now, though, for free. I don't know, is +1 to your charge and a reroll statistically better than +2 to your charge and no reroll? I guess it kind of sucks the fact that the other one would, like, you would need to reroll the charge roll, but you might not need to reroll it with Tide of Muscle. It's, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's just different. Actually, I would argue it's actually worse. It's worse because this is only if it's 10 or more models. So yeah, it's worse. It's definitely worse. You're right. It's worse. Go get them. You can reroll the d6 from how far you can move, type thing. Here's the real change. Well, this is a real change, but here's the change I know of. Mega Knobs. You get a 5-up Feel No Pain instead of a 4-up Feel No Pain. You should not have had a 4-up Feel No Pain. You guys getting the 4-up Feel No Pain was insane. 5-up Feel No Pain is much better. They also went up 10 points. That's a little bit I'm unsure about. Combining the two of them together, I'm a little bit unsure of. I would have maybe gone up like 5 points, not 10. The combo is weird. Individually, it makes sense. The combo might be a bit much, but the 5-up Feel No Pain, I think, is the right call regardless. Space Marines, your Iron Storm got worse. Iron Storm was arguably the best way to play Space Marines. You got rid of the auras and instead got a pick a unit instead. I don't know. So this is kind of weird for me. On one hand, Iron Storm was clearly too good, but on the other hand, Space Marines kind of suck right now. So I'm in a weird state because I feel like vanilla Space Marines need to get better, but I don't know why they're doing it this way. Example. Guard got a huge index change to its detachment rule. Drukhari got a brand new detachment rule type thing as well. Orcs got changes to the detachment rule. Why hasn't like Anvil Siege Force gotten a change? It's so bad. I feel like there are adjustments that need to be made. There's more internal balance that can be made to Marines that are just like not happening. Gladius is probably best right now. Well, best right now was Ironstorm, and that got changed. I guess Gladius is good. I think Vanguard is actually pretty good. I don't know. I feel like certain models might just need adjustments. Like Stormlance is dog shit unless you're running Space Wolves, at least as far as I'm concerned. Then you've got, I mean, Anvil is just flat out bad. Firestorm is okay, but most people who are running Firestorm like Black Templars, I think. The data sheets. Oh, I totally forgot about First Company. I literally forgot about First Company. I forgot it even existed. Yeah, what about First Company? That needs a change too. Did I miss this part from Space Wolves? At the start of the first battle round, select one of the sagas listed below, excluding Saga of Majesty. That saga is considered to be complete for you by your army and all. Oh, I didn't even read that. At the start of the first battle round, select one of the sagas. That saga is considered to be completed by your army. Gain the associated benefit until the end of the battle. Yeah, honestly, 6-up Feel No Pain saga right off the gate, right off the rip. Actually, you know what's even more insane about that though? That also affects your enhancements and your stratagems. Champions of Russ. You know, you have the Feel No Pain ability, for example, right? But if you have that one, which one's that one? The Saga of the Bear? The Saga of the Bear, oh my god, 1 CP. Now it's a war gear strat, but who cares now? Because who cares? 1 CP, battle tactic, Space Wolves, 4-up Feel No Pain against mortal wounds and psychic attacks. Dev wounds are now mortals. Oh, wait a minute. Saga of the Warriorborn, automatic completion. Sustain hit 1 across your army. 1 CP, advance and charge. Oh no. This is cool, dude. This might be too good, but we're gonna find out. Because also, aren't your enhancements, don't they like, some, oh no, the enhancements don't change it. It's just the stratagems. Oh no. Oh no, Saga of the Beast Slayer. Lethal hits across the board. +1 AP and Lance in the fight phase. Oh no. Speaking of Space Wolves, Thousand Suns. Cabal of Sorcerers. Exclude models that have already been selected for this rule this turn. Each time you use a ritual. So, if I'm, okay. Thousand Suns, you guys are so confusing. Twist of Fate. I know Twist of Fate got nerfed. Start of your shooting phase. So it's shooting phase. And +2 to the AP. Not turn off armor saves. For some people, it's basically the same. No more stacking rituals. Right, so you can't use the same ritual multiple times, basically. Or is it 1 ritual per sorcerer? So like 1 sorcerer can do 1 ritual, and you can't have like 1 sorcerer do like 9 rituals. Which I would imagine is like thematic. 1 sorcerer is doing his own thing. So that's good. Doombolt's got the stipulation that says you can't target lone op people because it's not a shooting attack. That's totally fine. Temporal Surge can't be utilized on the same unit more than once. And then Binding Tendrils. In your shooting phase, after this model is shot, select 1 enemy unit hit by its attacks. Right, you have to shoot something. I like that because I've had to deal with sorcerers behind walls doing this to me. And it was... Actually, no. They may still have to have seen me. But I think you need to shoot, basically, with them now. And it used to have... You're right. It did used to have... At the end, you can select 1... Okay, no, it's still visible. It's still visible. But you have to shoot them. And also, there's no more roll a 1, take D3 mortal wounds and stuff. So there's no more of the rolling of the dice. So you have to shoot them. And it's -2 instead. That's fine. It's like a side grade. That's fine. Actually, it's not a side grade at all. It's actually a nerf. I lied. Having it was way worse. Forget I said anything. That's a nerf. It's worse, but probably healthier. Because this move, dude, if you ever fought K-Suns and you had to deal with that, it was nightmarish. Genuinely nightmarish. Hey Tyranid fans, you ready for your glow up? When you're in Synapse mode, you take 3d6 instead of 2d6 on a battle shock test, and if you are in Synapse, you get +1 to your strength. Flat up melee attack +1 strength. Straight up. So 1, there's a real reason to keep you in Synapse now. 2, Nero Tyrant stonks up. And 3, Shadow in the Warp. If an enemy takes a battle shock test within 6 inches of a Synapse unit, you subtract 1 from the test, which will then immediately stack with the Nero Tyrant. So you can do both. So that makes it a little bit better. Granted, I believe this is only during the, like it says, if time this enemy unit takes such a battle shock test. So I'm assuming it's only for the Shadow and the Warp. -2 leadership is helpful. Crusher Stampede got better. If your monster is at full HP, it has +2 OC, which is like fine. It's not like amazing, but it's fine. There's also the stratagem. What is this one? Each time it falls back. Oh, basically the fallback move gets the same thing with Imperial Knights. Or sorry, it's not a fallback move. It lets you Kool-Aid Man. The Hive Tyrant gave a 6-inch aura of assault and lethal hits for your guns, which is very good as a gunline buff. A very, very good gunline buff. Neurolictors got Synapse. Zoanthropes can now be led by a Nero Tyrant, which is very cool. Love that. Broodlord and the Parasite of Mortrex both got Synapse and Shadow in the Warp. I'm assuming this was just an oversight, but it got Synapse and stuff, which is awesome. The Moloch, Ravener, and Trigon got Vanguard Invader, which it always should have. Moloch, Raveners, and Trigons got Vanguard Invader, which is lovely. Absolutely lovely. I would argue that this makes them pretty scary with some of their abilities. It also means you can like pop up Molochs and like suck them down. Not in the same term, but it's got some cool funness about it. Yeah, Nero Tyrant gives +1 to hit and wound for the las cannon brains on Zoanthropes, which is pretty disgusting. Which gives them some really good anti-tank. What's Vanguard Invader? Vanguard Invader is advance and charge. Moving on. Exocrine. Your strength 9 instead of 8. This is good because 8 was not very good, and 9 will help you into tanks. The fact that you were wounding rhinos on a 5 was kind of gross and stupid. So this will help you out a little bit. Tyrannifex owners, 2 shots is still not high enough, but going from 2d6 to d6 +6 for your gun, that's good. So at first I was like, wow, this is a huge buff to melee nids, but I kind of feel like we should have gotten more for shooting nids. And then the Hive Tyrant helped out with shooting nids, and now the Exocrine and the Tyrannifex helped out for shooting nids. And the Nero Tyrant being able to lead Zoanthropes actually should make a pretty big difference, especially because now you might take more Nero Tyrants now that Synapse matters even more. For example, you know, where is it? While this model is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. If it is battle shocked, add 1 to the wound roll. Zoanthropes, currently. Where is it? Yeah. 1 shot, 12, 3, d6 +1. Hits on 2s now instead of 3s. And also, wait, this is actually pretty great. I forgot they had Spirit Leech. So if they fail a battle shock test within 6 inches, it's D3 mortal wounds. But now that if you're within Synapse, it's an additional -1 leadership and Shadow in the Warp. It's really, really good stuff. I like it a lot. It is a great bit of changes. Is it enough? I'm not quite sure. But I was actually really enjoying the concept of using a Vanguard Invader list with a whole bunch of Broodlords and Gene Stealers. And it might actually be way better now because of this. So we'll see how it goes. It might not be perfect. Nids still lack a lot of anti-tank, but they may have turned a lot of their melee into wounding on like 5s and 4s to 4s and 3s. So that might be enough. Most Nids like to kill tanks by murdering them in melee anyway, so. What do you think are the winners in this patch? So we gotta talk about points, which I will in a moment. But if I had to pick the winners here are most definitely Dark Angels and Demons. Dark Angels, Demons, and Admech and Custodes. And like people who reduce CP costs across the board. Honest to God, this patch is mostly bringing up badly performing units and not nerfing a lot. Most of the nerfs came by with points. For the most part, these were buffs to underperforming stuff, and that's about it. Not a whole lot of nerfs. What's even crazier though, chat, is we have only covered the core rules and the actual, what is it? We've only covered the core rules and the data slate. We haven't even talked about points, and we haven't even talked about the new missions that are coming out. Because there's brand new missions coming out too, with new ways to do actions, new modifiers, etc. So, a lot of people are most likely going to look at this Sisters thing and be like, oh my god, this looks so insane. Sisters got hit so hard. You are half correct. Sisters Codex, it looks like the actual Codex, if we were currently at our points amounts right now, would most likely have made us more powerful than 10th edition on release Eldar. I genuinely believe that. The Sisters Codex is loaded. It is absolutely loaded as shit. Games Workshop sends their rules in codexes because they have the business strategies of a 95-year-old man. They have no idea how to run a rule system in their games. The rules should be fucking free. And the fact that you have to buy codexes for anything is stupid because it's just giant paperweights you're forced to buy to input a thing into the app. It's dumb as fuck. They have no idea what they're doing with the codexes. It's an awful system. Sisters were bad a year ago. They got a bunch of points drops over the year to where they were good. Now, the new codex has arrived, but the new codex is a year late because they do digital print, or physical print, because they're idiots. They're operating on the Sisters Are Bad era, but with the better codex of Sisters Are Bad era, with the new points, it becomes Sisters Are Broken to shit. Now, Sisters got massive points nerfs to make up for their insane rules. For the most part, I am very happy with Sisters being the unit that, or the army that has in between elite and horde, not quite elite. But normally Sisters are weak bodies with okay, well, it's very weak bodies, weak platforms with insane rules to buff their damage. That's normally what Sisters are. Insane damage and good trading on a mediocre platform. Repentia went up from like 110 points to 180 points for a thing of 10. What is it? The Triumph of St. Catherine went up like 60 points. Morvenval went up like 20 points. Everything went up like 20%. Like, do you guys realize the Imagifier gives whatever unit you put it on a 2-up save? The Hospitaller gives the unit a 5-up feel no pain, and also revives 1 model every turn. But if you discard a Miracle Dice, it revives D3 plus 1 models. That's really good. Sister Novitiates got Infiltrate. That's really good. The Triumph has an aura of plus 2-inch move with +1 advance and +1 to charge. It also gives you a free 6 miracle dice every battle round. That's really good. Astrid Thurga and Dolan give your unit dev wounds. Did you guys know that they give your unit dev wounds in melee and shooting now? So you could sink a multi-melta shot and just pop a miracle dice of a 6 for a dev wound multi-melta damage? Yeah, it's pretty good, right? Did you guys know that Morven Vol can do that ability where she juices up her gun and her melee weapon by a bunch of extra attacks as literally every single time by just discarding a miracle dice now instead of once per game? Did you guys know that a Repentia squad with a Palatine leading them and a 1 CP strat on the charge will kill an entire squad of Canoptic Wraiths with the Technomancer Feel No Pain in 1 activation? Did you know it would kill an entire squad of Mega Knobs on the 4-up Feel No Pain Wa turn in 1 activation? Did you guys know that Saint Celestine now revives D3 models? Guys, gals, non-binary pals, the Codex is insane. That's why this looks this way. That's why it looks so red. I am totally okay with this. How is this going to end up? I have no idea. It might still be busted. It might be over-nerfed. No clue. This is fine. I am okay with shopping it. I am okay with testing and finding it out. Custodians, you got a bunch of points drops on your Forge World items. Please don't buy them, because I bet next edition you won't even have them. That's my guess. This is bait. Yeah, this is bait. Don't buy it. Custodians, you unironically got some good buffs. Are you going to be good? I have no idea. You might still be bad. You unironically got some good buffs. Do not buy Forge World models. Don't buy them. Forge World is stupid. They remove Forge World items every edition, every codex. Do not buy Forge World. Never buy Forge World. Mechanicus. Now, there's going to be some rando assholes out there who are like, why did my Mad Mech get so hard nerfed? You guys saw your buffs, right? I have no idea how this is going to turn out. I have no idea how good AdMech might be or how bad AdMech might be. We'll find out. Honest to God, though, this is going to be quite interesting. Real mech boy moments. Honestly, I'm just happy that a AdMech list will not cost you $4,000. Eldar. Okay, can I say I love when they do this for Eldar. They dropped a bunch of Phoenix Lords. Azerman, Jane Zar, Karandras, Malgan Ra, and they upped a few of their regular boys. So I think for the most part, the Eldar are roughly the same as before. The difference is that they basically running the Phoenix Lords with the squad is better instead of just running the squad. That's basically what I think is what it was. That's my guess. Also, I think with the new missions, Warp Spiders got insane, so they nerfed Warp Spiders. Yeah, people didn't run the Phoenix Lords before. That's as far as I know. Yvrain was actually pretty nasty, chat. If any of you ever had to fight the Yvrain in the Harlequin troop build, it was pretty gross. Ages of the Imperium. No change to the Calidus. Kind of thought she would with her new bubble, but we'll see. Militarum. All right, so our artillery got nerfed hard because all artillery got nerfed, and our artillery got double nerfed because we no longer get lethal hits while stationary because the detachment rule changed. The Death Strike, the Field Ordnance Battery, the Manticore, and the Basilisk all went down in points to make up for it. I don't think it went down hard enough. I think the Manticore might... No, the Manticore gets full rerolls to hit. Okay, that's maybe fine. But they all went down. Casterkin went down. That's really nice. Casterkin were being spammed with reinforcements, so this is a good change. I'm really happy the Armored Sentinels went down. I think Armored Sentinels are really fun. I think their new model looks awesome too. Chat, I don't think you, like, have you seen So the Armored Sentinels get lethal hits like for everything now because they're both regiment and squadron. But have you seen an Armored Sentinel stat line before? They're so thick. T8, 2-up save, 7 wounds. The 2-up save really shows it off. And for 65 points each, the Rogel Dorn also went down. How many points did it go down? It went down 20. I'm actually shocked. People were already using the Rogel Dorn. And the Rogel Dorn got better because it got lethal hits against all enemy vehicles and monsters. The Rogel Dorn was already good, dude. I got people murdering me with the Rogel Dorns before. Dude, the Rogel Dorn has 18 wounds. It's T12, 18 wounds, 2-up save. Once per battle gets to change a thing to 0. And it has like 19 guns. Honestly, I'm really excited to play Guard. I can't wait to run like my combined arms, infantry and stuff. It's gonna be a great time. Templars, your Gladiators and Valiants went up. I'm assuming from like the Iron Storm or something like that. Whatever, Templars, you're fine. Blood Angels didn't get any changes. I think they're doing okay. Demons got a bunch of points drops on all the Slaneshi and lots of the Nurgle stuff. Also, the Bloodthirster, some Khorne stuff went down. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, I'd say. Just general buffs for demons. Be'lakor went down 325? What's Bellacor's points? 350. Okay, so 25 points. Yeah, I guess now because Be'lakor doesn't need to be the main carrier of Shadow of Chaos, that's fine. Chaos Knights. The Abominate went down, the Spoiler went down, and then all of the Forge Worlds went down. That's fine. The Abominate was really bad, actually, so that's cool that it went down. Okay, CSM. I don't know about this. This is weird to me. I don't think Accursed Cultists need to go up again. I don't remember them being particularly annoying. Unless I missed something. I don't know why the tanks went up. Either? Have Cultists been stomping in comp? Really? Is it because of Alpha Legion? Or like the Infiltrate? I haven't seen many Accursed Cultists. But like they got rid of their revive, right? Nah, the Cultist detachment. What? They just won a major 7-1? What? Max squad cultists in the Cultist detachment? Color me shocked. I had no idea. I mean, I feel like they should have had their time in the sun. All right. Anyway, Vindicator and Predators going up. I mean, Vindicator I get. Predators I don't really know about. Why were Chaos Predators going up? Predators because of Raiders. Oh goodness, the extra AP in Raiders. And oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Okay, why Raptor? Okay, Warp Talons dude, Warp Talons are expensive. I don't know how I feel about both of them going up. Like, Warp Talons got a slight nerf in their rules and also went up in points. This seems like a lot. I think the Venom Crawler got a nerf because in Soul Forged, it was really nasty. I don't think Legionaries needed a drop. Maybe Raiders is the reason for that one. But I don't think Legionaries needed to be nerfed. And also, why Raptors? Were Raptors also doing well in Raiders? I don't know. There's some weird things here. I don't know, like also Havocs went up? I don't know. CSM didn't look like they were absolutely slaughtering the meta. They seem like they were good, but there's some weird things here that I'm a little bit like, I'm a little confused about, you know? I'm a little confused about. Dark Angels, the Dark Shroud and the Deathwing Knights went up. They forgot to highlight this. Deathwing Knights, they kind of deserved to go up. They got an extra damage on their weapons, and that alone is enough. Plus their insane new Inner Circle rule. Also, side thing, because Deathwing Knights have a Watcher in the Dark, that now allows you to take Feel No Pains against Dev wounds. That's good. Death Guard. The Putrefier went up. Blight Lord Terminators went down. Plague Surgeon went down. And the Blight Haulers and the Blightbringer went down. And the Blight Spawn went up. Listen, Death Guard players, I genuinely don't understand any of this. I'm glad the Plague Surgeon went down. It'd be cool he can revive more Death Guard guys. Terminators going down is cool. I'm glad that I know the haulers were kind of overpriced, so that's cool. I'm gonna say I'm happy for you. There are more green than red. I will say I'm happy for you. That's all I got. Death Watch, let me be honest, guys. You got points drops. You are barely a faction. GW does not care about you, and I feel like I just don't think that, like, they don't care, and I don't know what to say about it. Drukari. Grotesques went down. Scourges got a swap. The low amount went up, but the high amount went down, and the Ravager went down. Drukari Sky Splinter is actually pretty good. I fought it a couple times. It's nasty. It's neato. Good stuff. GSC, new codex. I just don't even. New codex. Don't even look at it. Don't even think about it. New codex, just leave it alone. Grey Knights. Grey Knights got some nerfs. They were actually doing pretty well recently, if I'm not mistaken. So you got some nerfs on your Dread Knights. You also got nerfs on some of your vehicles. And but your Land Raider Crusader went down to make up for the fact that it sucks, and your Land Raider Redeemer went up to make up for the fact that it's stupid and it's awful, and anyone who runs a Land Raider Redeemer should be crucified. Imperial Knights, Paladin went down, and a couple enhancements went down. So Votann got nothing. Though the thing to note is that Votann got a 80 points for 10 models on their little infiltrator guys now, which is actually pretty neat. They don't have a lot of very good guns, but they have a reactionary move and they infiltrate, and that's really good for Votann. I think it's just genuinely a solid option. So cool. Necrons. Canoptic was doing really well, so they nerfed your Doomstalker, they nerfed your Wraiths. Would I have liked some points drops on Warriors? Yes. Would I have liked some points drops on Triarch Praetorians? Yes. Would I have liked some on the Stalker? Yes. Infinite Trazen? Yes. Tombblades? Yes. Annihilation Barge? Yes. Ophidians? Yes. Would I have liked just a little bit of a drop on the rest of the army that is never ever seen? Yes. The internal balance for Necrons, in my opinion, is bad. Overlords do get their free strat again. I love Awakened Dynasty. It's my favorite dynasty. I think that just like Warriors and a few things need to be changed, but for the most part, we'll see. Orcs. Listen. The Weird Boy, the Pain Boss, the Pain Boy, Boss Snickrot, and the Mega Knobs all went up. I am also in agreement that maybe the Mega Knobs are a little bit over-nerfed. The fact that they went up 10 points per model, a 33% increase, and had their Feel No Pain drop to a 5 instead of a 4 is a bit much. I would have preferred maybe a 5-point increase instead of a 10, or just nerf them to a 5 at Feel No Pain and then leave the points where they're at. But 10 is a bit high. The rest of this here I'm pretty okay with. They actually didn't hurt much of Orcs, which is nice. They mostly just hurt the really problematic parts. Space Marines. The Gladiators went up. Ironstorm. The Redeemer went up. Fuck you. The Crusader went down. Whatever. You know, actually, you might take a Land Raider Crusader now at 220. Its guns are terrible. It's just a bunch of Hurricane Bolters and stuff. But it's chunky, and maybe that's a good, cheap cost to deliver some advancing and charging units. So we'll see. Also, the Repulsor went down a little bit, which is actually a little surprising. And then Stormraven went up. Space Wolves. Wolf Jail got nerfed. But Space Wolves also got a massive buff thanks to their new army rule. So basically the bad version of Space Wolves got nerfed. And that's okay. The annoying version of Space Wolves got nerfed. The Stormlance Thunderwolf version. And I'm okay with that. Tau. Okay. In my small, well, not mine, I guess, but like in the small little friendly RTT we did this year, I have a buddy named Larry. Larry is a very competitive player. He's also a big Tau player. I fought him with my Necrons versus his Tau, and it was a very interesting experience. It was new Codex Tau, and I was like, why do you have 3 Hammerheads and like 3 Riptides? That's actually like surprising. Why is there so many of these? Where are all your battle suits? And then I took his Codex, And I started scrolling through them. And I'm like, well, why didn't you take broadsides? Oh. Well, where are your crisis? Oh. Why not take... Oh. And then I realized that Tau suck. Not actually suck. The Kroot have been doing really well, and some Mont-Ka lists have been doing really well too, but most of them took a bunch of hammerheads and stuff. This seems to be pretty good, honestly. Broadsides were too expensive, commanders and crisis suits were too expensive, breachers were good but strikes were bad, and the hammerhead was arguably too good. And so this is some like decent internal balance. I feel like the Riptide may have been a little bit too good, though. I may have wanted the Riptide to go up like 10 points, maybe, because that Riptide was pretty disgusting. But like Devilfish with Breachers, pretty good. It's good. It's good. I think for the most part, this might be interesting because I don't know. The Crisis Suit combos are pretty nasty. So we'll see. Oh, well, they can be nasty, but they were too expensive. Now they might actually be worth running. So we'll see how it turns out. Yeah, SMH, no Manta point drop to only 2,000 points. SMH my head, what are you doing, GW? Come on, just bring it down to 2,000. Let some random Giga Chad bring his Manta to a tournament. Come on. Why the hell did they even nerf the gunship? Oh, because the gunship was actually quite good. I won't lie, the gunship really hurt. It was quite strong. That thing blasted. K-Suns. You got even more points drops. I mean, that's badass. Why are there no Space Marine buffs? They have such a low win rate. Again, well, Iron Silver was nerfed, but all the other detachments are bad. So, okay, we talked about this a bit. We'll get on Space Marines in a moment. K-Suns stay winning, I guess. And then Tyranids. So, because you no longer have the ability to do actions with 0 OC units, the Biovore and the Spores all went down. Because they're nowhere near as good anymore. Because they can't do actions anymore. So we'll see how it turns out. Did I miss anything else? Yeah, 8-bound went down with World Eaters. I'm happy about this. I always felt like the 8-bound were a bit too pricey. So this is nice. Yay, 8-bound. Yay, World Eaters. Here's the thing about Space Marines. Space Marines win rates are bad. Correct. However, Space Marines with the right players often find top placings at tournaments. You look at Space Marines, you look at vanilla Space Marines, and we talked about this a little bit before, right? Anvil Siege Force is dog shit. First Company Task Force is dog shit. Just recently, I forget which one of the Art of War guys it was, they went crazy with Ultramarines Vanguard Spearhead, or Vanguard Detachment, whatever it's called. They went crazy with it. Calgar with the Aggressors and the Infiltrate with the Apothecary Biologists, the Uriel Venturous dropping in Centurions, etc. Firestorm recently did amazing too. People have been running it with like Black Templar combos. It's like a weird Firestorm mixture type thing with either Black Templars or something along those lines. Stormlance is amazing for Space Wolves, obviously, but also people have been putting up like some guy won a tournament or got close to it with like the Khan, like randomly. The problem with Space Marines is that there's such a gigantic player base, is that their win rates are massively skewed. And what's even worse is that non-codex compliant chapters can utilize their stuff with Space Marine detachments. Why would I ever run Blood Angels when I can run every character in Blood Angels and then run them as like Stormlance? Why should I run regular salamanders in something when you can run them as something else? That's why it wasn't like Ironstorm. Well, Ironstorm was good, but it was like, oh shit. It was like Dark Angels Ironstorm. That was what was good, you know? Now, Blood Angels right now are pretty good in their own right, but it's the weird mix and match. Unless you're running Ultramarine Vanguard Spearhead, why would you run Raven Guard? What do you get out of it? You get one character, Kavren Shrike, that's it. Why would you actually run White Scars? You get the Khan, like a Khan on a bike, and that's it. So it's so much better to run Stormlance with things that are actually useful, like Space Wolves. So the people who are bringing down vanilla Space Marine win rates really low are the people who are, you know, fun dad gamers. They're running Anvil Siege Force with Tor Garadon and Captain Lysander. And don't get me wrong, Giga Chad, absolute Giga Chad for doing that. But you're not winning anything with that normally because it sucks. Now, do I agree? Should Anvil Siege Force be getting buffs? Absolutely. 100%. But for the most part, the overall Space Marine package, I think, is mostly fine. Maybe some things could get some drops, but honestly, not much else. Honestly, I fought a lot of Space Marines. Like intent. I fought a lot of Space Marines, a lot of chapters, and I always at least struggle a little bit. Now I don't I mean, well, it's not like a huge skew. I lose to Space Marines sometimes, I win to Space Marines sometimes, but for the most part, they've always at least hit me a little bit. It's always been a little tough. I genuinely think that Space Marines are mostly fine. The issue is divergent chapters and various characters mixing in with other parts of the thing. Because when you look at Space Marines like by themselves, I mean, come on, chat. Like the things that we can get, you know? Example. Let's roll an example right now. Let's say if I'm playing Vanguard Spearhead and I give Infiltrate to a character. I put them behind a wall right next to your objective, very close to you, and you get first turn. Well, that's okay, because I have taken 6 Blade Guard veteran squads for 180 points, or sorry, 6 Blade Guard veteran models, and I put them with a Judiciary for 70, and given him the Infiltrate enhancement. So now you've got a 6 Blade Guard and a Judiciary right behind a wall that you can't shoot, infiltrate in your face with fights first so you can't charge me. And maybe you like can charge me or something fun like that. I have the stratagem to move away and stuff. Like for 250 points, plus enhancements like 270, that's a spooky package, wouldn't you agree? I'd say it's a pretty spooky package. And then like here's another thing. Heavy Intercessor Squad. Did you guys realize that 10 Heavy Intercessors at T6 3-up save is only 200 points? 200 points for 30 wounds at T6 3-up. Plus they get +1 to their armor save if they're on an objective marker and it's damage 1. The beef here is insane. I told you about the Librarian and Phobos armor infiltrator thing earlier, but then like, oh hey, look, Hellblasters. Hellblasters with Azrael is like 300 points. And let me tell you, I know from experience, they slap you. The damage that the Hailblaster squads can do is insane. You look at all these random individual things in Space Marines, and you find that there are very good options. Oh my god, scouts. Oh my god, chat, scout squads? This might be the most insane infiltrator unit in the whole game. This is a 65 point 5 model scout squad. It has infiltrate and scout 6 inches. You can infiltrate them and scout them. They also have if you're 6 inches away from your opponent at the end of the turn, you can put them back in strategic. As action monkeys to just do stuff, these scout squads are ludicrous. Okay, chat, eradicators. It's 190 for 6. With 2 multi-meltas and melta rifle, it's 8 melta shots. Each time a ranged attack is made against a target monster or vehicle, you can reroll the hit roll, the wound roll, and the damage roll. You can reroll everything if you fire at a vehicle or monster. Also, they're T6 3 wounds. There are tons of little bits in Space Marines that are good. It's just how you play them. I'll be perfectly honest, chat. I'll be perfectly honest. If you're struggling with Space Marines, skill issue. Ooh, jump pack intercessors. Yeah, jump pack intercessors are solid. 16 points a model, chat. 16 points a model. 12-inch move intercessors with on a 4-up charge mortals. Someone earlier said Inceptors. Yeah, Inceptors. Hey, what's this? Is this a free 3-inch deep strike? Oh, what's that? You need to do a random objective on the other side of the map, like behind enemy lines, but your opponent screens you really well. Sucks to suck. Here's 3-inch deep strike. And you know, if you don't want to do an objective and you just want to arrive there and blast them to shit with your double plasma pistols. Look at these things, chat. Each of them have, it's 2 shots each at 8, 3, 3, assault, and twin linked. There are things here, chat. There are things here. You can do it. In fact, I'd almost argue that Space Marines got a massive buff that is not points related because of the new stratagem changes. A lot of Space Marine, like captains and stuff, they have the 1 free strat ability. And now that it's no longer battle tactics only and you can do it on anything, here's something. What about this, right? You have a Gravis captain. Yeah, like okay, so I really like Vanguard Spearhead. I find it extremely fun. Because their detachment rule might be the best attachment rule in the entire game. If you shoot them outside 12 inches, subtract 1 from the hit roll and benefit of cover. Now, you know what's kind of hilarious to me? What if you gave infiltrate to, maybe it could be infiltrate, but like you can put on a Gravis captain with a 10 heavy intercessors, let's say. Why not? 10 heavy intercessors on a Gravis captain, yeah? Here's a 1C, I guess this was already a battle tactic, but this stratagem is also insane. 1 CP, fire enemy over 12 inches, +1 ballistic skill, +1 armor penetration. Or better yet, someone is charging you, you get like the calculated feint. You -1 on the cost of the stratagem, move D6 inches away. Or if you're Phobos or Scout Squad. You know, okay. You know what's actually kind of hilarious to me? So there's Captain in Phobos armor, right? This guy gives you a redeploy, whatever. You can put him on a Scout Squad. He's 80 points, right? Can you imagine putting him on a Scout Squad, a 10-man, and then like using your sniper rifles and stuff and just blasting them from like blasting like an Oaths target? It's not that, probably not that good, but it's kind of funny, you know, just like murdering them. You can also give him the enhancement that lets him shoot and move. Dude, there's some options. Long story short, we've been talking for over 2 hours. The changes made to the entirety is mostly pretty great. There might be some over nerfs. Mega Knobs might have been over nerfed. I think CSM may have also been over nerfed a little bit. There's a lot of question marks, particularly demons and Admech and sisters, and I guess Genestealer cults. But overall, this is amazing. We are genuinely playing a brand new game. This is like 10.5. Huge changes to the core rules. Massive adjustments to how everything is worded and described. The movement stuff, the pivot moves, a brand new mission deck. Huge. Unironically, massive changes. Love to see it. So cool.